What's up YouTube, this is Nick the Saiyan here, bringing you another video of Kazuya basic tutorial. Now, what I'm going to do is a little bit different than just showing you kind of in the lab. I'm actually going to show you a bit of combos that you can use towards your advantage in an actual rank match, or should I say tournament mode. This matches or series of matches features my gameplay and the way you can pretty much punish Kazuya, the do's and don'ts actually. And we're gonna get started with matchup 1. Now I had to split the clip because for some strange reason the two people that were in the brackets were taking way too fucking long to actually be able to finish their matchup. I was watching them and I'm not gonna be very judgmental, but the fact that they were just smashing buttons was probably on the same level as a 4-year-old smashing his head on an arcade stick, which is pretty doubtful. But getting back to this matchup, actually, I'm actually going to show you a couple of things that you can use towards your advantage playing against Asuka or just playing against all characters in general. Now, matchups, it all makes sense about the matchups, but you guys gotta understand that if you trust within your character and you have that character chemistry, you could pretty much take over anything. Doesn't really matter. So let's get started with this this particular matchup right here. Now, what I'm gonna do is I show you guys exactly that it's important to crush with a boundless fist because it pretty much enters into a combo. Now, this person is definitely oblivious to where my sidestepping was at. I made a few mistakes this round, especially not covering my legs, but I made a clear sense of using the spinning backhand too. As you can see, her movement was really precise and stuff. Although, like, I might be using the form of the same moves into the video, I show you guys exactly how to like deal with these type of situations. It's really good to actually sidestep because, as you can see in the video, I'm trying to sway side to side to get a good idea to show them that I'm not as dumb enough to actually fall for that type of routine. But yeah, so like basically what you gotta do with Kazuya is that you gotta punish with pretty much a balancing fist, because that basically makes it like the ultimate weapon. Alongside with God Fist, I answered into a series of jabs and basically punishing. Wall can become your best friend at times too, guys. You gotta make sure that you guys make it to where the wall is pretty much your best friend. Now, there is a bit of an advantage when you're doing wall, but there's a natural reset that happens when you're pretty much doing these combos. Is this more likely to be a natural reset due to frame data depending on characters? No, because what happens is that when you do wall damage, it automatically resets. It doesn't matter. But it also makes a little bit more sense when you gather enough wall damage to kind of keep them, you know, juggling for that time being. As you can see in that matchup, she wasn't really focusing on her legs. Sweeps, you guys gotta watch out. It's very important to watch out for sweeps because sweeps can become your worst enemy. And if you don't know how to block your legs, I don't pretty much know what to tell you, because that means that you're not really too interested in trying to develop that type of idea to control yourself in that type of atmosphere. It doesn't matter what character you played with. So this next matchup, I played against Dragunov. Now, I'm gonna tell you right off the back, this guy gets a 2-up win streak. He gets a 2-up win streak, and this basically means that he took 2 matches over me because I wasn't able to react sooner. I think this is the Dragunov match. I'm not really too sure. Maybe this might be no, it's not. It's the Katrina matchup, I'm pretty sure. But this matchup, I made a couple of mistakes too because I wasn't protecting my legs. And like I said, guys, when you sweep, it creates an opening for your opponent, and you want to do whatever it takes to get into your opponent's head when it comes down to the combos. However, it's very important for you to actually align those combos. You know, I'm not a really big fan of you know, ground juggling as much as I am with air juggling, because air juggling I was ever used to in Tekken Tag Tournament 2. However, they made it friendlier for Kazuya to be able to react and be able to exert that type of idea. So you got to make it opening for you. And if you're asking why did I chose the Tekken 4 soundtrack, the Tekken 4 soundtrack is pretty amazing. But let's get back to the gameplay. Now I'm sidestepping. I'm thinking that this girl has a good idea of what I'm doing, and I enter into Hell's Lancer after I do the Slaughter High Kick. Now, like I said, create openings for yourself. You want to make it to where you're making it accessible. Tech the grabs, as much grabs as you're teching. Like for example, this chick right here, she really much made it very important for her to pretty much try to take the match. But you always got to make sure that you be able to create openings for yourself in this game, because if you don't, then it's pretty much gonna make or increase bad behaviors. I'm not assuming that online pretty much increases bad behavior, but at the same time, that's what happens when you don't block your legs. You see, I hit her with that turn up, and I fucked up here because I wasn't able to block out my legs. But once I saw that she was pretty much aiming for my legs, I made it an opening. I made an opening decision to actually just try to evade the situation by using either a bowling fist or spinning backhand. Now that I saw that she was going for my legs, I wanted to make it accessible for me to use spinning backhand and go for her legs even more. The thing that you have to do, like I said before, is just get into your opponent's head by going for sweeps. Because if anything, in a lot of Tekken games, a lot of people hate sweeps. So sidestepping, like I said, is important. You know, you can see in this type of behavior video that she was falling for the sidestep because she didn't know what I was doing. You gotta make sure you wave dash too. Wave dashing is very important. She got confused with that behavioral too, which resorted to her losing. So another thing I never really understand is a lot of people take it into consideration to just mash buttons. I don't really condone that type of behavioral. I want to make it to where you guys understand that mashing buttons isn't really the way to go. You know, you got to make sure that you guys know what you're doing as opposed to being in the lab. Like, I got experience with Kazuya. That's the reason why I played with Kazuya in the first place. I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm better than anybody, but I know the matchups. I test myself to know the matchups, and you guys, the matchups are pretty easy. Like, if you want, I can link in the description the possibility of the matchups in the tutorial video, or this tutorial video in general. Sorry for correction. It's very, very important to know the matchup, and it's very important to learn your character, because if you do not learn your character, you are not going to be able to learn and adapt to your player, as opposed to you learning and adapting online. Getting back to this matchup, this is the matchup that I pretty much almost lost. I almost gave him free. This was almost a free match, but I managed to catch up because, like I said, I learned the matchup. I learned what he was doing. It's going for 1-2 commands, and I realized that he was making it his business to actually go for grabs, because Dragunov's that type of character that if he gets in, he gets in, as opposed to the juggling, and it's good. You know, Dragunov is a good character. I think he got some really nice and provable techs. I'm probably gonna make a tutorial about him too in the next video, but I want you guys to look at this video and understand that this right here is what you don't do. Right here, I was not teching anything, and he was getting a lot of punishes. And if anybody knows me, I don't play on the right side. See, I wasn't able to do anything. He was able to attack my legs, giving free openings, and I gave him the match. I wasn't poking out, doing anything. Kazuya doesn't have good pokes. Not many great ones, but when he gets in, he gets in. So I was able to manage to get a couple of combos in, but I'm pretty sure that he brought the match back just by mashing buttons, I'm assuming, but as you can see, that was a nice tech by him. He managed to fucking swing my leg around like a linguini. Now, in this particular situation, you're like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? He has one more round and stuff. Well, I made it possible for me to catch up. Like, for example, this matchup in particular, I made sure that I hit him, but I missed the slaughter high kick. But that didn't give me the confidence not to use Hell's Lancer, which Hell's Lancer is a good thing when somebody opens up with just a jab. You gotta look at those openings. Hit him with that, spinning backhand demon. Like I said, look for those pokes, man, and then sidestep high kick is definitely really good. And that opening slaughter high kick into Hell's Lancer is a really good combo, especially against walls. I know that this matchup seems a little screwed up considering the fact that I was using the same moves, but I can assure you guys right now that the guy was very clueless to what I was doing. And that resorted into taking the L, actually. But like I said, I had to cut the clip, guys, because I realized that, you know, those matches were kind of boring and stuff. But as for this last match, I'm going to tell you a couple of things that you guys should know. Katrina is known to have several movesets that are legitimately, if not similar, they're kind of like Jossie's moveset, which is similar to Bruce's. Is it more likely for them to be similar in a way? No, because since they removed Bruce in this game, I don't know if there's any similar moveset, but Katrina plays different in a punishable factor. And by mastering her frame data is pretty much gonna align a bit of a focus to where you can juggle as much as you want, because there's a lot of people who pretty much juggle in a very sophistical fashion. This Katrina player honestly didn't know what she was doing, and this is what resorted to an L, actually. I don't mean to be rude, but this is an example of a matchup that I allowed too many openings to happen to, and I wanted you guys to take a look about them. Also, I wanted to actually add on to you guys that if you guys have any character requests of guides that you want me to play with, as opposed to learner guides with, for example, Devil Jin, Henhaichi, characters like Jossie, which I will learn in the sake of like the understanding with the subs, I will definitely do those things. I will definitely make time to do that. Now in this particular matchup, she's already thinking, also he's going for a bomb shit fist, so I'm gonna probably poke out as much as I can. And she missed the juggle, but that doesn't mean that it's calling me out. I'm trying to create an opening. Like I said, it's hard for me to get out of situations like that when it comes to her spinning game. And I managed to make an opening for myself and use Hell's Lancer. I realized that by playing against this chick before, I had to use a bit of focus towards sweeping, so made that possible. So I opened up with the Wind God Fist, opening up with that Slaughter High Kick. Slaughter High Kick, like I said, become your best friend, man. Make sure you make Slaughter High Kick your best friend. Faked her out with the Wave Dash, and then kind of open it up with that. Missed the Hell's Lancer. Open up with that. Now she's thinking right now she's not really trying to adapt, but she used the sweep technique against me. But she thinks that she's gonna pretty much be able to use it all the time. But you gotta always let your opponent know that, like, if they could be able to use those techniques, they could be able to adapt to it. She used the grab because it was accessible for her. Now this was my mistake right here, because I could have chose the block, but I was trying to use a balancing fist. Never do that. Never do that. This isn't a Street Fighter. You can't pretty much try to jab back out of situations like that. I don't recommend you doing that. Now, so I knock her down with Hell's Lancer, and then I'm sidestepping because I want the confusion to be there. I want the bit of confusion to be there, so that way she could be able to adapt less to that. But that's gonna give me the game. And thank you guys so much for viewing the video. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, please comment on the video. And this is Nick the Saiyan, and I am out.